Hi guys, it's Solange. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to part 3 finally. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create some darts on our skirt pieces for our dress. The darts will be 5 inches long and we're doing that both on the front and the back pieces for the dress, like what I'm showing you here. After that, we're going to go ahead and serge across the top part where the waistline would meet. We're also going to go ahead and serge all the princess seam areas for both the front and the back of our dress. Once that is done, this is what we have. So I've serged the top portion as mentioned before and I've already inserted my darts. And this is what it looks like on the wrong side. Please bear in mind that these are the back pieces of our skirt portion for our dress. And this is how the front portion of our dress looks like. Both darts are already created and I've already serged the top part of it. As mentioned before, I went ahead and I serged all the princess seam areas for both the front and the back of our dress. And this is what we have. The next step is for us to go ahead and place those side pieces right sides together, and we're going to go ahead and pin those into place and sew along the curves for both the front and the back for our dress, like you see I'm about to do here. And then you just go ahead and sew all of those pieces together along the princess seam lines. Of course, you need to repeat the same steps for the front as well. And let's get back to the front portion of the dress. For a second, we're going to go ahead and work on the pockets now. So this is what we have, and we're going to go ahead and take those outer curve pocket pieces and we're going to make sure we're placing them right sides together. So once you notice that they're right sides together, you go ahead and line up the curves together and pin along there from the top to the bottom, whichever direction. Once you pin them together, and make sure that they line up properly. Once that is done, you can go ahead and sew those curves, and this is what you should have once that is finished. The next step is to take your scissors and clip along the curves of the pocket, ensuring that you do not clip the seam that was just sewn. The next thing that we're going to do is something called like an understitch. So we're basically taking the raw edges that was just clipped and pushing them toward the pocket piece as you see me doing there, and then we're going to sew a small stitch line directly next to the seam that was already sewn, if that makes sense. Once I'm finished sewing it, you will get to see exactly what I'm speaking of. And if you need a separate tutorial on this specific technique, you can always let me know, please, if it's a bit confusing for you. So that is finished, and this is what we have. So as you can see, where I'm indicating there with my finger, the stitch line is already sewn there, and you will see like a fine line on the outer edge of the pocket. That is to help to secure the pocket into place once the entire dress is sewn up. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab those other rectangular pocket pieces and serge the top edges for both of them. So I've done that, and this is what we have. So we're just going to go ahead and place a serge edge right at the top, lining it up with the other sides of the pocket piece. Flipping it over to the right side so you can sort of get the idea of what we're hoping to achieve once this is already sewn in, right? So this is what you want to have so that you can be able to put your hand inside of your pocket. So we're just going to go ahead and sew around basically two edges, which is the inner edge of the pocket and the bottom edge of the pocket, leaving out the side and the top part. And this is what we have, and I went ahead and serged the inner and the bottom edge as well of the pocket to ensure it's neat and clean on the inside as well as the outside. Go ahead and press that portion of the dress with the iron to ensure all the pockets and pieces are nice and flat. This is what it looks like once I'm finished ironing that portion. Don't you see the difference? Here's a quick view of what all of the sides so far should look like, both the back and the front portion of our dresses, and these are what they should look like on the wrong side, sorry. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and serge the bottom portions of the dress. Now this is what I was speaking about when I said we had to return to some form of cutting at some point during this tutorial, but trust and believe that this will be the only aspect in which we're going to cut any additional pieces. What we're going to do, we're going to cut a facing for both the neckline and the armhole all at once. So we want to fold the front part of our dress in half, and we want to line up that folded edge with a fold of the fabric and pin that into place. From the outer edge of the armhole, we're just going to go down 4 inches. This is where we want our facing to end for our dress. Now you can choose to do separate facings as you please, however this is just an easier way. And we're just going to go ahead and cut that out. When you get to this point, you want to take your curve and sort of try to like draw a curve going upwards towards the neckline. Not too high, but you know, just nice enough. But for me, I'm usually doing everything freehand, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my freehand and draw in a curve like so, and go ahead and cut that out. This is what I have once I've done that. We're now going to repeat the same steps for the back of the dress to face both the armhole and the neckline at once. The exact same thing we just did for the front, just mean we're going to do it for the back instead and line up all those selvage edges together, go down 4 inches from the armhole, and then draw a curve the same way in which we did for the front. So if you just go ahead and watch, you would see exactly that what I'm about to do is going to be the same thing I just did for the front. So we have all our facing pieces for both the front and the back of our dress. The next thing that we're going to do is serge along all the edges for the facing pieces at the bottom. I'm now taking the front princess seam portion and I'm placing the facing on top of it, right sides together, pinning along the neckline first. And I'm going to be repeating the same thing for the back pieces of our dress with the princess seams. I'm going to be placing the facing pieces right sides together for the both of them and pin along the neckline area only. Go ahead and sew around all necklines. Once that is done, this is what we have. Remember when we did the pocket curves, when we clipped around the edges and then we took the raw pieces and stitched them toward the pocket facing? Now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to clip around all the neckline curves and we're going to understitch. So we're pressing all of the raw edges for the neckline toward the facing piece and stitching around it so that the neckline can be kept into place and so that it can be nice and flat. Once that is done, this is what we have. So as I'm showing you here, I press the raw edges for the neckline toward the facing area and then you're going to see a fine line of stitch toward the wrong side, right? And you want to go ahead and give it a nice press with the iron as well. The next thing we're going to do is turn them wrong sides out, which means the right side should be facing together. And we're going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and sew around all the armhole curves for both the front and the back of our dress. This is what we have so far. So what you're going to do now, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to clip around the curves. It's really important to remember once you're sewing curves to clip around all of them, ensuring that when you're doing this, you're not cutting the thread that you just sewn. So I've already ironed down the front and the back portion for our dress at the top, right? The next thing we're going to do is take both front pieces, which is the top and the skirt piece for the dress, and we're going to line them up together and we're placing them right side together. So you can just go ahead and flip down the front or flip up the back, the bottom, doesn't matter, once both of them are right side together and you're lining up the darts with each other. Now you want to pin this into place. I would recommend pinning the darts first to ensure that those lines are, lined up neat and nice together, and then you can go ahead and pin the remainder of the dress going across. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process for the back parts of the dress. So as you see, I already have them lined up here. I'm just going to go ahead, line up the darts, pin into place, and once that is done, you just sew all of them across the same way that you did for the front. This is what a front looks like, and I went ahead and I pressed the seam open that I sewn to ensure it's like neat and laying flat and everything. And these are what the back parts look like. Hang in there, guys, we're almost finished, don't worry. Now as we have the back here, we're going to go ahead and work on the zip one time. And for this dress, I'm doing a center zipper. I believe I have a tutorial on center zippers already, so the same would apply. You're just placing them right sides together, placing the zip along the seam. We left 2 inches away for the zipper allowance, and we're just going to place the zipper on the dress and mark where the metal stopper had ended. So just for demonstration purposes for you guys, I'm just marking back the 2 inches seam allowance that we had left previously for our zipper allowance. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that all the way down because this particular dress does not have a slit at the back of it. So now we can go ahead and mark where a metal stopper for a zip ended, and I'm not going to get into much about this because I already have a tutorial how to put in a center zipper. So the same would apply whether it's a dress or skirt, it doesn't matter, the same would apply. I will be sure to link that tutorial in the description below for you to check out if need be. I'm just pinning my dress, so ensure when I put in my zipper, all the seams line up really nice and neat, just the way I like it to be. So I've already inserted my zipper, and this is what I have, guys. This is the entire back of the dress completed. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place the front of the dress, which is also completed, and I'm placing it right side together with the back. As you can see, our dress is taking shape. We only have the shoulders, the sides, and the hem left to complete. Let's work on the shoulders first. Now you can go ahead and just stitch it right across that way. However, for a more professional finish, I prefer to tuck one shoulder into the other. Now when I say tuck one shoulder into the other, I mean taking the back or the front, it doesn't matter because both of them are already faced. And basically we're going to turn that piece over so that the right side of one of the shoulders can completely fit into it. Now if you just look at the demonstration, you'll be sure to get it. And with this, you won't have any kind of raw edges by the shoulder seam or anything of that sort. So this is actually the way I would recommend or prefer to do it. However, I understand if it's a bit confusing for you, but I hope that it was clear enough for you to understand. And I'm just pinning that into place and repeating the process for the other shoulder. Once you've already tucked in the shoulders into each other and pinned it into place, you're just going to go ahead and sew with a straight stitch across and turn them over. Once you turn them over, you should be seeing something looking like this, where both on the wrong and right sides are clean finishing at the shoulder seams, right? The next thing we're going to do is work on the sides of the dress, sewing up the sides. Now for the sides, you're going to need to place the back right sides together. And once you've done that, this is what you should get. And you can now go ahead and sew them down normal. You can just join the shoulders, the sides together, and sew one straight stitch coming from the armhole straight down. However, for a neat cleaner finish, I prefer to bend up the facing and basically line up the armhole seams together, so that both facings are basically, you're sewing from the facing, then you're going to pass across the armhole seam, and then you're going to continue sewing all the way down to the end of the dress. This will guarantee a cleaner armhole finish than if you were to just place the both of them together and just sewing down just like that. And of course, with everything, you're just going to repeat the same steps for the other side of the dress. Once that is done, this is what we have. So if you notice that the armhole area, the facing is basically covering those raw seam edges, right? It's basically covering it. And this is what we have, and you can just go ahead, take your iron and press out both sides. Now guys, this is the fun part. Our dress is basically complete. We're just going to turn it out onto the right side so you can see what it looks like. And the last thing that is left to do is for us to hem our dress. Now at this point, you can go ahead and measure down the length of the dress to ensure that you are hemming up the right amount that you needed. So if, for example, your length was supposed to be 30 inches long and your dress is currently 32 inches long as is, then you know for sure you need to hem up 2 inches. But of course, everything must be neat. So the first thing that we're going to do is serge around the entire edge of the dress, and then we're going to hem up the desired amount that we need. And that's it, you guys. That's really it. That's the end of your dress. And this is what it looks like once I've finished serging the hem and hemming it and ironing it. This is what it looks like on the mannequin. I hope that you guys learned something. I hope you had as much fun that I did showing you this tutorial. If any questions, please feel free to ask in the description box below, and I can be sure to clarify anything that you may have had trouble with for this tutorial. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye bye.